Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
the podcast. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411, all about Elizabeth Weber.
We've been waiting for this one.
I know, because she just celebrated her 22nd year, 23rd year?
Okay, don't tell
on
me
the
that,
show.
because I swear she's still like 25 and
I
I'm
know.
the same age as her in my head.
She's still 15, 16 when she came on the show. You know, I mean, I don't think that...
I'll let her age a little bit just because I feel like she couldn't have had 3 kids and I couldn't have had 4 in that amount of time. But
true. Very true.
I don't want to make her any older than 25, so she can't be on the show 22 years.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh my gosh. So Liz was on pre-kids for both of us.
Yes.
There's not very many people left on the show that was pre-kids for us.
Nope.
She's one of our last pre-kids people.
Yes.
So this is going to be a 2-part series because she's been on for so long. We are just automatically going to cut it into 2. So we're going to do like 10 years, the first 10 years.
Ish. However it breaks out. I don't think it's exactly 10 years, but it's close.
Yeah. So Amanda's going to get us started today.
All right. I didn't want to go into all of her background stuff because I feel between us doing the whole Weber family before.
Which was the April 25th episode. If you need your background on the Weber family, I looked it up just to make sure.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Go back and listen. We've also done the Hardys and the Baldwins.
There you go. So I didn't feel like we needed to get into all of her stuff.
Nope.
But I will tell you like how she came to Port Charles. On a more personal like actress note, in January of 2011, they tried to write Elizabeth out and said they were done with her and they were going to make her storyline show her leaving. And all of the fans protested so much that they kept her. So that is how we have our Elizabeth.
Did they say what the storyline was that was going to be her end?
It doesn't. It said that she had been let go and that her exit would be storyline dictated. And then after much fan protest, only after a month after that original announcement, they released another statement saying that she would retain her role on the show. And then they went on to make the comment about how, like, we always get upset when someone's leaving, but then it dies down within a couple of days. And this was something the fans would not let go of. So they had to keep her. Which is awesome. I mean...
And that was pre-social media, really. That was 2011. Yeah. Which, I mean, we had social media, but by no means
not the way
where we are
now.
today.
Right.
You know, I was playing Farmville in 2011. That's what you did for Facebook, right? You didn't use it for...
I guess I did belong then. I was going to say, I don't even know that I belonged to Facebook then, but I did.
Do you have some corn you have to go harvest?
I don't. I never played that game. I refused.
Oh, it was addicting. It was bad.
No, the only game I've ever played is Candy Crush.
Never done that.
Oh, see, that is addicting, in my opinion.
I've done Disney Blitz emoji, and then I had to remove it from my phone because...
Yeah, it's the same concept. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So, anyway, I just thought that was interesting that us as the fans refused to let her go, and I'm glad that they listened because Liz is one of my favorites. Okay, so Liz came to us from Boulder, Colorado, with her parents and older sister, Sarah Weber. While growing up in Boulder, Elizabeth said she never received much attention, or as much attention as her sister. And so she rebelled and got in trouble as a means of getting attention. Mm-hmm. And then her parents ended up moving to, I can't say it.
Sarajevo.
I want to make it I mess it up. I know I do. So thanks. To work as doctors there, leaving Elizabeth no choice but to live with her grandma. So that's how we got her.
And we talked about this a little while ago. Because it was her anniversary of her entrance was her sitting on the front porch swing smoking a cigarette as Sarah walked up.
Right.
I still see it in my head.
Because she was such a bad girl.
She was.
And we didn't have bad girl.
Not younger.
Yeah, right. There were no bad girl teens at that point.
No.
Everyone, like Emily was around and she was perfect.
Right.
And when Sarah came on, she was perfect.
Yep.
Because she came on a couple weeks before Liz, right?
Yeah, she was on first.
Yeah.
Yep.
So... yes, it was shocking to see Liz with her cigarette. But her storyline develops more whenever she wants to hook up with Lucky. That's where it gets into it. So it says, I went from General Hospital Fandom.
Okay.
If you want to see where I'm coming from. Not going to word it exactly read it exactly word for word, but the basic points of it. When Elizabeth initially arrived in Port Charles, she was a rebel, as soon developed a crush on Lucky Spencer, but Lucky had a crush on her sister Sarah, who had a crush on Lucky's brother Nicholas. They were already into this triangle, not even a triangle, squares at that point. Elizabeth did continue to pursue Lucky despite his crush on Sarah. She went so far to invite him to the Valentine's Day dance at school. Elizabeth's life changed forever the night of the school Valentine's Day dance. Walking through the park on her way home, Elizabeth was attacked from behind by a stranger and violently raped. Not that we want to see rape scenes, but that was the best handling of a rape scene ever.
They just showed recently
aftermath. Right, when they were talking
about the flashbacks of it. And
oh my God.
When did they do the flashbacks? It was for something, because they showed it. It was because Elizabeth wound up talking about it.
What was that
for?
I know, my brain just went completely blank there.
Was it Gail's reading of Gail's will?
Was that it?
Was it during the scavenger hunt thing? I think it was.
Oh, right, because we talked about seeing all the different older rooms and how they've changed now. I
could be totally wrong, but I'm
pretty sure that now that you say that. But yeah, in my mind, like I can see it, but I couldn't picture where it was.
No, but we talked about this before. They did an amazing job bringing the awareness, and I believe that it was like one of the first times that they actually did like the rape kit and everything on TV or something.
Mm-hmm. Right, because we had talked about at that time was whenever Grey's had just done that rape storyline.
Yes.
And we talked about how they went through very thoroughly.
Yep.
And it paralleled this that was so many years before that.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the point. It was Lucky who became a pillar of support and helped her in her quest to find and identify her rapist. At one point, she traced down the wrong man and accidentally stabbed Lucky in her attempt to seek justice. Lucky forgave her, and he teamed up with Nicholas to rescue Elizabeth and Emily after the man that had raped Elizabeth held both young women at gunpoint. By this time, Elizabeth and Lucky realized that they were deeply in love with each other and set their sights on a future together. Elizabeth was surprised when Lucky suggested she attend an art school in New York City. She was hesitant until Lucky promised that he would go to New York with her. I loved her in her art stages, and he was so cute. Lucky surprised Elizabeth when he brought her a new dress and hinted at a big Valentine's Day surprise. The following year, obviously. Or I guess that was 2 years later. When Valentine's Day arrived, Lucky took Elizabeth to a romantic empty church, and they vowed to love each other forever. In April 1999, Liz was grief-stricken when Lucky was presumed dead after his apartment caught fire. In the months ahead, Liz became close friends with Jason Morgan, who helped her deal with the loss of her first love. I never realized how young they were in that church.
I didn't either. I thought they actually got married then.
Yeah, I guess that was just the promises, but they were really young for that.
Aww.
In 2000, Luke and Laura discovered that Lucky was alive. He had been held captive by Helena Cassadine and brainwashed into believing that he did not love Elizabeth. Lucky pretended to love Elizabeth because he still cared about her happiness, and they became engaged. The wedding was called off after she realized this. Elizabeth moved on and quickly fell in love and married Rick Lansing. We talked about that before, too. That was, like, super fast.
And there's a difference between marrying someone who is your age and marrying someone that is significantly older than you in a minute.
Yes. Quickly. That should be, like, highlighted.
That wasn't Jonathan Jackson, was it?
It doesn't tell me in my story.
Okay. I don't think it was. We're so going to have to do a recap on Lucky, because we talk about him way too much.
We might be a little in love, but that's okay.
Just a bit.
Elizabeth discovers she is pregnant, but she miscarries, leading Rick to blame it on his brother, Sonny Corinthos.
Do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Anchor is such an easy way to record and edit a podcast, and you can do it from either your phone or computer. Best part is you don't have to worry about getting it out there. Anchor distributes to many platforms, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many more. You can start making money right away without having a minimum number of listeners, too. Anchor really is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place.
Elizabeth divorces Rick after she discovers he was planning on stealing Sonny and Carly Corinthos' unborn child, which we also talked about that. That was an awesome scene, too. When Elizabeth is blinded temporarily. I did not like the way that they worded this, because it says blinded temporarily, and I was thinking, when did she go blind? She didn't go blind. The power went out. So if you happen to read this on your own, do not be confused like I was. Yes, the power went out. She was scared to be alone because they had just been in the catacombs and heard all these spooky noises.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, Xander, please don't leave me. And he stays, and they end up hooking up. I actually YouTubed that because I was like,
when did she go blind?
Blinded. No, power went out. Big difference.
There is a huge difference.
There is. Xander died soon after that, so Rick agrees to raise the child as his own, and the couple renew their vows, but she divorces him after she notices his obsession with Sunny. I feel like it wasn't that she hadn't noticed it before, she just chose
She just realized that it was never going away.
Exactly. That he was a little cray-cray when it came to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
In 2005, Lucky and Elizabeth began their romance again. Elizabeth was now a nurse at General Hospital and had her son, Cameron Weber, fathered by Xander Smith. Before Lucky and Elizabeth married, Elizabeth chose to become a surrogate mother for Jasper and Courtney Jacks. Lucky did not approve and took a break from their relationship. I don't feel like you could take a break from a relationship on that either. And she could have consulted him before she...
I think that was more of the thing, is that...
I feel like if you were going to be a surrogate for someone, you would talk that over with your significant other
Maybe.
first. But anyway, after a car accident, Elizabeth miscarried. Lucky helped her through her pain, and they began a rocky marriage. Elizabeth was kidnapped by Manny Ruiz in 2006, and Jason rescued her once again. In 2006, Lucky became addicted to painkillers and began an affair with Maxie Jones, his pill supplier. We totally need to do that, too, because that was such a good storyline also. Elizabeth discovered Lucky's infidelity, sought comfort from Jason Morgan, and became pregnant. Lucky, believing the baby was his, went to rehab while he and Elizabeth divorced. A paternity test revealed that Jason fathered her unborn child. Elizabeth kept the truth a secret to protect the child from Jason's dangerous lifestyle and to keep Lucky from suffering devastation that she believed would cause him to relapse. After Lucky completed rehab, Elizabeth remarried him. In May 2007, Elizabeth gave birth to another son, Jacob Martin Spencer. Emily Quartermain, who was Elizabeth's best friend and Jake's godmother. Emily knew that Jason was Jake's dad, and she also knew that Jake was her nephew. Well, obviously. When Jake is kidnapped, Lucky blames Elizabeth, thinking that she harmed the boy. Jason is the only one who believes her when she says she didn't. While Jake is missing, Elizabeth is tormented by Sam McCall, and it is later revealed that Sam saw the kidnapping and kept quiet about it. Jason finds Jake and returns him to Elizabeth. Lucky is bitter and has Jason arrested. Lucky and Elizabeth's marriage is strained. Knowing that Sam wants to seduce him, Lucky takes a job as her bodyguard. I forgot that too.
Yeah, payback.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the day Jason admits to love Elizabeth, Sam hires men from her TV studio set to threaten Elizabeth and her boys in the park. Jason thinks it's best if no one knows he is Jake's father. Sam and Lucky begin an affair to get back at Jason and Elizabeth. Elizabeth and Lucky divorce again. In November 2007, during the black and white ball, Lucky discovered the truth about Jake's paternity and agreed to keep the paternity a secret to protect Jake. At Emily Quartermain's death and funeral, saddest time ever,
I know,
Jason and Elizabeth began a brief secret relationship. They became engaged, but Jason later decided that his job was too dangerous for Elizabeth and her children, and he called off their relationship. Elizabeth decided to fight to be in Jason's life, but he was adamant that he could not give her what she deserves. Jason invited Elizabeth to go with him to Italy, but after he witnessed the shooting of Sunny's fiancée, Kate Howard, Jason once again feared for Elizabeth's safety and tried to use this incident to scare her off into abandoning the relationship with him.
Okay, so with that, that's the first 10 years of Elizabeth Weber being on General Hospital. Like we said earlier, it is going to be a two-parter because there's quite a lot to talk about, even though that seemed to go pretty quick.
I can't believe it's 10 years.
I know.
Even looking at it. I mean, a lot of the storyline was that initial square of Elizabeth and Emily and Lucky and Nicholas and just their teenage shenanigans.
Right.
That was the best characters up until having Jocelyn and them back now.
Yeah.
Those were the only characters that you saw actually be teenagers.
Yes.
And do just teenage things. Be excited about dances.
But Robin was by herself.
Robin was by herself with no other like real friends, and then she got involved with Stone.
Right.
And then her whole life revolved around him. Not saying that that doesn't happen as a teenage girl, but
right.
obviously those were extreme circumstances with his illness and
right.
him working for a mob boss.
You know.
I don't know about you, but my first true loves didn't work for mob bosses, so
no.
it kind of made things a little bit. There was a lot of conflict between Robin and her parents
right.
for that relationship. That showed a very true tone to that. But the four of them,
right? They were hanging out. They were
they started
doing
out
stuff together.
Once Sarah left, it was the Three Musketeers.
Yeah, basically.
So,
yep. We've talked about it a couple times. We really struggle with liking Liz.
I do.
Because I like her.
I want to like her, but sometimes she makes choices that I just can't stand behind.
And she repeatedly makes them. Mm-hmm. So it's not, so we talked a little bit about the fact that Maxie really has learned from her past and has totally changed.
I agree.
The way that she...
Except for the way that she's ignoring the red flags with Peter.
Well, that's something new, though.
That is. She had done really well
oblivious.
Growing up from her mistakes.
Yes. And she doesn't make her decisions from the same place that she used to make her decisions from. Mm-hmm. Liz hasn't gotten there yet.
No.
Even though she might progress, she's still, when it comes back, and we're seeing it right now with this Franco stuff, when it comes back to it, she makes
really good parenting decisions, which makes me like her.
Yes.
She feels like a real mom. She does really well with her work stuff, which is great most of the time. But the relationship piece, she's just boy crazy, even though she's way too old.
Are you really too old to be boy crazy?
Yes. Yes. Once you have kids, you have a responsibility to those kids to make sure that you're not chasing unattainable men around.
But I don't think that she's ever... See, I wouldn't say she's boy crazy. Boy crazy for me, she wound up being in relationships with guys. She wasn't like on dating. Well, I mean, they didn't have dating apps and everything. But you know,
she jumped quickly, as the article even says, from
Lucky to
Rick. Then Jason was always there in the background. She was divorced from Lucky how many times? I just feel like when she wants to be with someone, she invests way too much of herself.
So we need Liz to be okay by herself for a little while.
Yes. I don't think that's going to happen.
I know. I don't want anything to happen to Franco. I want him to come back.
Even if Franco leaves, I don't see Liz being alone. Then she'll develop a crush on Lulu's new man, or I don't even know who. I mean, think about it. Even though she's been alone, she's been a single mom for a really long time.
Yeah.
She has never not had someone that she was pursuing.
Well, it's also a soap opera. That's kind of the thing.
But they leave other people alone. We were just talking about it's about time, Michael, to have someone for Bobby. And I know those are, Bobby's older.
Bobby's had her scandals.
She has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that she hasn't. I just mean...
I don't know.
That's my issue with her. I feel like she's boy crazy. Maybe that's not the exact right description, but she invests too much of herself in unreliable men.
So this leads us to us asking you what you think about Liz, because do you struggle with liking her? You know, do you? And please, we do not want to do the ship wars. Don't say anything nasty. You know, we don't attack characters. We don't attack... We talk about the writing's horrible, and we talk about we don't like some of the decisions, but we never straight attack the character or the actors because...
Right. No, it's definitely not the actress.
No.
I love her. It's definitely not the way that she's portraying something.
No.
I just feel like they keep writing her character to be boy crazy, and that's why she's not my favorite.
Yeah.
She's my favorite love to hate, I guess.
It's... Because I do like her. Like, I would be really, really, really sad to see her go.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But it's almost like Tracy.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Couldn't stand 90% of the stuff that Tracy did.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, she loves those boys more than anything, you know, and there is not a single decision that she makes that she does not think of them first.
Right.
Truly, you know, even in her boy craziness, you know, I do think that she's always kept the boy's best interest. No?
She just does things differently than I would do.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Fair enough. But so tell us on either Instagram or Twitter or you can always email us at peer54podcast@gmail.com, and maybe even let us know your favorite Liz memory. I mean, we talked about a couple things
Yes.
that we enjoyed, or, what's just the one thing from the past 23 years of
gosh.
Liz that you just remember, when you hear Liz Weber, what's that thing that you think of? I think of the boxcar. I think of her and Lucky in the boxcar.
Yes.
What do you think of?
I like that one. I think of her older. I mean, I love the Lucky scenes, but I think of her older and trying to be with Jason.
Okay.
And just how lost she was in that. It was all good scenes, but I felt like even back then it was like, Liz, just walk away. He's not meant for you.
Yeah. They have a hardcore following, though.
They do.
They have a really hardcore
I
following.
just feel like he was always meant to be with Sam, and
they've always been each other's backups. They were never each other's first choices.
Right. It's like Kim and Julian. I'm not saying that they don't really like each other, but Kim always wanted to be with Drew instead. Right. And so I feel like Liz has always put way more into the Jason relationships than Jason has. Not to say he wasn't a good friend to her. Their friendship was solid.
And not to say he didn't mean it when he said he loved her and wanted to marry her and everything. Absolutely. He probably did.
I just feel like it was not a 50-50 relationship. So
I agree. All right. So join us next week for the second half of Liz Weber. Go to Instagram, Twitter, or email and let us know what you love to hate about Liz, what you hate to love about Liz.
I can't wait to read everyone else's, because I know there's so much we're forgetting that someone else is going to bring up, and we're going to be like, oh my God,
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we'll meet you back here on Monday for the weekly recap. And until then,
have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.